This diversity event, taking place in this most modern of ways, very much resonates with me. A woman who's been pursuing a vigorous home-based professional career for more than 50 years. It's significant that Computer Weekly has computer rather than computing in its title. The industry started off with all emphasis being on the hardware. And at that time, people laughed at the importance I put on software. And in any case, no one can sell software. It's given away free with the hardware. From hardware to software, the focus eventually became the networks, linking things together. And then that network of networks, the internet and its web. Computer Weekly described me, and I quote, has been a regular reader in our print days, has been honored as one of our most influential women in IT. But I assure you that I'm not a has-been, but very much still active in the sector, not least with the Oxford Internet Institute. The modern computer industry has reshaped how society lives, and never more so than during the pandemic. From ordering food, shopping online, recording fitness goals, revolutionizing healthcare, and everything in between. And technology is intrinsic to almost every single thing people do. And with this in mind, the industry creating these groundbreaking solutions must represent the society which uses it so readily. Currently, it does not. Diversity is strength in the technology industry. Tech companies, like all businesses, are more profitable if they have diverse workforces. And according to a 2017 study by McKinsey, companies in the top quartile for gender diversity on executive teams were 21% more likely to experience above average profitability than companies in the fourth quartile. And that's because diversity brings different ideas to business. By employing workers from different backgrounds, companies can stimulate debate, target diverse market sectors, and avoid the dreaded existence of the boardroom as an echo chamber. In the modern age, when disruptive technology is changing the way the world operates, we have the chance to create a more equal society for everyone. And when the majority of the world's technology workers come from the same demographic, however, this becomes difficult, a difficult feat. I was always lucky in knowing what I wanted to do, pure mathematics. And girls of my generation were not supposed to study maths, but then I always had to challenge the stereotype. I'd had to fight to be taught mathematics, changing schools twice and ending up in a boys' school, an early introduction to the gauntlet of leering, catcalls and whistling, which was then woman's lot. Power has shifted since then, but as we know from the Me Too movement, sexual harassment remains in many guises. And then, with fluky timing, I fell in love with computing, which at that time required mathematics in all its beauty. When I first started in the workplace at age 18, I was patronized, as women were, and when I began to make it clear that I was pursuing a vigorous professional career, then it became a more entrenched position to keep me out. I knew I was good enough to be promoted, but I was passed over time and time again and got fed up with my head hitting that glass ceiling. The sexism was overt. On getting married, the expectation was that I would stop work immediately and that my life would become one of domesticity and children. I wanted the children, but not the domesticity. As you can read in my memoir, Let It Go, I launched my software company in 1962 when I was 29 from our dining room table and with about £100 in today's money. Freelance Programmers was a company of women, for women, focused on creating an environment where women could manage their home and professional lives. To do that, we had to be family friendly, with flexible hours and home working encouraged, one of the first businesses to do such things. My female employees had good degrees, good qualifications, but had left work on marriage or having their first child. Women are much more likely than men to drop out of the workforce in order to focus on other parts of their lives, especially family. But the higher workforce quit rate of women has nothing to do with ambition. Women with children are just as interested in career opportunities as women without children. You can always tell ambitious women by the shape of our heads. They're flat on top from being patted patronizingly. We explicitly championed a woman's right to be regarded as equal in the workplace. In 1975, 13 years from my company's startup, Britain's sex discrimination legislation came in, which meant it was illegal to have our pro-female policies. And as a fine example of unintended consequences, my woman's company had to let the men in. Nowadays, it's more difficult because sexism is more subtle and cultural. My advice to female entrepreneurs is robust. Women should let sexism wash off them and get on with things. I advocate for anonymized CVs, anonymized application forms. A case can be made that an AI system, rather than the recommendations of managers, should be used to identify not just candidates for interviews, but candidates for advancement as well. After all, let's forget the recent examination fiasco. The unbiased judgment of an AI system should not penalize or reward an employee based on his or her gender or race or background or disability. Diverse teams have the ability to make full-bodied solutions for society. And allyship is the key to unlocking the power of diversity. I know that good employers do now work hard to diversify, which is proven to progress into innovation. I'm often asked, are you a feminist? Well, the answer is no. I am a humanist, totally committed to valuing each human being and convinced that every single person can make a difference. One of my company's very first programmers was Mrs. Bakaya. We were much more formal in those days. An Indian lady who wore the most fabulous saris. Later, Sylvan was tall, dark, and handsome, his description, and one of the very first black directors to be seen in the City of London. I shall always remember the shock waves when we turned up together at a formal dinner. Earlier this year, we had a live-in Nigerian carer for my husband. And I was horrified to learn she wore a wig of Caucasian hair because her agency felt too many people disliked Nigerian braids. Allies know they're not members of the underinvested community they support, but make a concerted effort to better understand the struggle every single day. So whether at board level or in the home, I aim to align myself with the fight against racism, even if that means little more than signing the BLM petition. I learned to follow different people with an array of voices and listen to them. By creating a more culturally diverse workplace, things are much more innovative. Why? Because similarity kills innovation. When team members are too alike, things can get missed or overlooked. And after all, every organization is perfectly designed to get the results they are getting. To have the most successful and well-rounded computing industry, representation of marginalized groups must improve. And to invoke this change, the majority must help, support, and advocate for the minority. If engaged correctly, allies hold the power and the key to stimulate positive change. Everyone has the ability to be an ally, as privilege is intersectional. White women can be actionable allies to people of color. Men can be allies to women. Cisgender people can be allies to members of the non-binary community. Able-bodied people can be allies to those with different abilities. Economically privileged people can be allied to those who are not. Unconscious bias that lies within us all, so we need to challenge it, bears a lot of responsibility. Some organizations have implemented unconscious bias training, but this alone does not make statistically significant differences. In fact, I've read that unconscious bias training, especially as a one-off, can be counterproductive. To be allies, actionable allies, words and actions must be in sync. Allyship is a verb, not a noun. Through personal actions, a more inclusive environment can be fostered in a number of ways. People in privileged positions have the ability to call out unacceptable behavior towards underrepresented people and be heard. Understanding and recognizing people can be a daunting and uncomfortable task. And having uncomfortable conversations with yourself, understanding the systemic and social issues which may have played in your favor, is eye-opening and allows you to use this privilege to amplify those who do not have it. Embracing diversity and fostering an environment of inclusion is good for business. Everyone should be involved. You can also be aware of gendered terms and instead choose languages which embraces all walks of life. For example, use partner instead of gendered terms such as husband or wife to be more inclusive. To attract and retain different kinds of people, try using different recruitment methods. Partner with organizations which actively push for equality in that space. Take part in conferences and reach out to underrepresented people for their honest feedback on where they would look for roles. Listen to the people you're trying to reach. For systems and sectors to take everyone into account, representation must shift from an economic imperative to a moral one. That's where you want to be. Let me leave you with this. A true ally, a genuine advocate, must regularly listen to those around them, adapt their thinking, rework what they believe to be correct, and be comfortable being uncomfortable. For only then are you a true supporter, a true friend.